Hi guys, so this is our second video in our 10-step beginner guide to HMOs, and today we're going to talk about the initial things to think about when buying a HMO. And there are two main things, in my opinion, to consider, and that is the area and your target market. So if we talk about the area to start with, one of the initial things to think about is the employment rate of the area. So are there big companies or employers in that area? And what does the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years look like for that area? Has the area been prosperous in the past and now it's going downhill? So I know this is a bad example, but coal mining towns obviously did really well and then went downhill when all the mines closed. Has anything similar happened in the area you're considering buying a HMO? Or is it an up and coming area where the councils, government, etc. have been pumping a load of money into the area to bring it up? And is it predicted to be the next, I don't know, big area in the next 5 years or so? So is it a good area to buy cheap now and wait for the long haul and go up? So yeah, employment rates of area, does it have a steady income? Does it have high employment rates, basically, if you're targeting a professional area? Yeah, another thing is, does the area in general have a lot of things going on? So I would argue that HMOs out in rural type places probably wouldn't work too well. You want to be in city centres where there's a lot going on, or if you're just outside of London but they're on a sort of a underground link that can go straight in, or a train that goes straight in as well, so you can go outside of the M25 because you know that people can get into London within 30 to 45 minutes or whatever. Or are you targeting students? So are you looking at the universities? Is there a big university, colleges, etc. in the area, and do you know if there's a strong student demand in the area as such? They're sort of big considerations. Then we want to talk about sort of, are there any restrictions? So there's something called Article 4, if you're not aware. So essentially that's where the local council can put restrictions on having more HMOs put in the area. So as an example, in Crawley, at the moment, you can just put a HMO, you can build a HMO, there's no problems, so you can get up to 6 people, and sort of change the building from residential, which is the C3 classification, via sui generis. You just do it, if that makes sense. But if there's an Article 4 in that area, or sometimes in specific roads, it sort of depends, you have to go to planning permission to get, if you want 3 to 6 people, it would be a change of use from C3 to C4. 7 or more, then that's a completely different class as well, but that is definitely something you need to consider when looking to do a HMO, because you buy a HMO in an Article 4 area and then you don't get planning permission, you're in trouble. So yeah. And then, just general things like transport links, parking in the area. Is the area good? Can people, your target market, can they get to where they need to be easily? Or like I said, they're out in the rural, so they've got, a rural destination, so they've got to travel 30 minutes to work, and actually that's not really what people want to do. They want to be there in 10 minutes or whatever. So as an example, in Crawley, we've got the Fastway 10 and 20 bus, which goes from Crawley in different various locations to Gatwick 24 hours a day. So we know that people can get to and from Gatwick all of the time. So that's something you need to look at. And then obviously a major thing is supply and demand. Is there a low supply of rooms available? Is there a high supply of rooms? Is the demand strong? Is the demand weak? So you want to be asking local letting agents like ourselves, if you're looking into doing HMOs, because we deal with HMOs, or local HMO landlords, even checking places, websites like Spare Room. Are there a lot of rooms available? Are there not a lot of rooms? What type of rooms? Really start talking to people and really sort of get a feel for the supply and demand in that area. And then it's probably also worth talking to the HMO officer, just gauging what their attitude towards HMOs is like. Are they for them? Are they against them as such? Or, is there Article 4 and stuff like that? And then not necessarily speaking with, but neighbours. Find out if there's been any major objections to neighbours. I've heard of stories where people are doing HMO conversions and neighbours really do cause a lot of problems in that area. So you're basically in your area. You're really trying to assess all of these different things. engaging whether a HMO in that area would be good. So there are just a few basic things that you can do to really gauge the area. So I think once you've done that, you'll have a pretty good idea. And then your target market. So who are you targeting? Who will your target market be? Will it be students? Will it be professionals? There's a whole array of people that might need you might target the council, and you might supply homes to council and rent it to the council so they can put their tenants in, if that makes sense. I know that's a strategy. Supported living type things, all that sort of stuff. So you want to really sort of now think about who's your target market and are they in that area, but what type of accommodation facilities are they seeking? Are they looking for high-end accommodation? So if you're doing professionals like pilots and aircraft engineers, etc., they want a really do they want a really high standard? Yeah, they probably do. Or are your target market more budget friendly? They're looking for just more your basic type accommodation. And what sort of facilities do they want? Do they want full-on suites? Big kitchens, really nice, high, very well decorated houses, etc., etc. And all that sort of stuff. And is there a demand from those people for those types of rooms? So again, you want to be checking what your competition will be, what they're offering. So looking at spare room, look at different types of rooms. Are there a lot of high-end stuff there? Is there a lot of cheaper stuff on the market? I did a video, I think it was our weekly news update last week, showing you the room, what people's budgets are when looking for rooms and putting adverts out. So it's interesting. There is a percentage of people looking for high quality rooms in Crawley and higher budgets, and there are actually a good proportion of people that are looking for the 500 to 550 mark, which is not low end as such. It's just actually sort of mid-range. So yeah, you're really starting to look at the data and analyse what are your target market looking for, what sort of budgets, etc., and then you really can start going, okay, well, we can get a HMO in this area, hopefully at the cost of this, we can charge this for rooms and our ROI will be X, and just seeing whether it was viable to even do a HMO in that area. Finally, linking back to the area is the location. You want to make sure you're in town centres or close to transport links or in good areas with parking if that's important. So we do high-end rooms, so a lot of people have cars, so parking is important to them. So if you can get a driveway or good on-street parking, but you also want to cater for people that don't have cars. We want to make sure we're near bus routes, train stations, is there good taxis in the area, all that sort of stuff. Just can people get around easily? If you're in Manchester, trams, I know there's a tram up there, and just things like that. You really want to, this is just been a brief little video, but these are the two main things I think you need to be thinking about, which is in your area, is area and target market. So you really need to make sure you know both of those things about your supply and demand and all that sort of stuff, and who is going to be your tenant. Yes, because you don't want to provide the wrong product to the wrong target market, as it just wouldn't work. So bit basic, but this is obviously a beginner's guide, but it's really important, I think. Once you know that, and you think you've got a goer, you think you know who your target market is going to be, in what area, and you're confident that there's demand there, then in the next video we're going to talk about the property itself and what to look for. So don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them down below and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can, and I'll see you next time.